Repeat podcast. I am your host, Calvin, aka Practical as Buck, and today I'm very excited. Me, Dad, aka Charles, have a really special guest. We have Christian Seiler, one of the new and upcoming open shooters. If you don't own Instagram and you've been living under a rock, you probably won't know who he is. But if you follow USPSA regularly, he's a new and upcoming guy. So we were fortunate enough to get him on the podcast, so we appreciate you being on the podcast tonight, man.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
So,
welcome.
If you don't know, Christian just got done shooting Area 8, Sunday? So he's been kind of a busy dude. So we'll kind of just if you want, Christian, why don't you kind of just, introduce yourself to everybody and kind of, where you're from and how you got into USPSA.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you mentioned, my name is Christian Seiler. I'm based out of Seattle, Washington. I'm just about 20 minutes out of Seattle. I started shooting when I was about 13, 14 years old. I started just by taking an introduction safety class. I was really interested in firearms, so my dad took me to a safety class where I learned, a good respect for firearms and how to shoot them, how to handle them properly. And then eventually I bought a .22 pistol, a Walther P22. Then we bought the big brother of that, the Walther PPQ. Just started doing consistent range visits with my brother and my dad. And then eventually I saw an IDPA competition. I went out there, got a safety card, safety check and everything. Shot a couple IDPA matches. And then everyone was saying, you're young, you're fast, go out there and try USPSA. You'll like it more. And so now I've kind of just stuck in USPSA and SEAL Challenge competitions. And so I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now. I started out shooting in the production division, started with just a Glock 34. Back then, Walther wasn't as big and they didn't have holsters or anything for the PPQ. So quickly bought up a Glock 34 to be able to, have holsters and spare parts and stuff. And so shot the Glock 34 for about 2 years. I think I ended production about A class and then picked up a really old open gun, started shooting that for 1 or 2 years. And then got some nicer guns and whatnot. Started training, started practicing, had some help from some local guys, and have really been up and coming the past couple of years. This past year has been my best year of shooting. The previous year, the 2018 season, I was really fortunate to win 2 area matches as well as place third in the open division at Open Nationals. Just being beaten by some regular guys, JJ Rakaza and Casey Eusebio. Pretty good crowd to be with. So I was at my first nationals. I placed third last year, the 2018 Nationals. And this year's been a pretty solid season for me. I've won every area match in the 2019 season, starting with Area 6 and moving all the way forward to Area 8. Shot against some of the best competition in the world. Shot against JJ Rakaza, Shannon Smith, Cody Baker, Chris Tilley. A lot of these national champions, world champions, really great shooters. I've just been very honored to be able to compete on the same circuit as them this year, and I've been very fortunate to win 6 for 6 area matches this year, and I'm just looking forward to shoot the last 2 area matches, Area 5, Area 2, and then go into nationals.
Awesome. Well, thank God you didn't stick with IDPA because that would have just been a waste.
Absolutely.
That would have been a waste.
Christian, how old are you?
So I just turned 19 this summer. So I just turned 19 last month.
Man, that's
Good
great.
Job.
Yeah, we don't really have a whole lot of guys your age in sport. They're all, a little bit older. So that's good, man. It's good to have a nice young face like you out there shooting. Maybe it'll kind of get this younger generation into the shooting sports and, try to preserve it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely think that that's obviously really important. And definitely in the last year, just with some more success and being a little more comfortable in the sport, I've been trying to help more juniors out, and we're planning some junior camps locally to get more kids locally in the area involved in shooting sports and just try to give back whenever possible. And I'm very excited and very eager to meet juniors at matches and help them out in any way I can. So definitely exciting and definitely fun and a different perspective coming to the shooting sports as a junior.
Do you have is anybody else in your family shoot USPSA, or are you just like the golden child and they just,
Well, my twin sister's not really into shooting. My older brother's not very into shooting. My dad and mom have been very supportive, taking me to the range. I mean, like tomorrow, my mom's going to drive me out to the Renton action base to let me go shoot because we need 2 people there. So they've been really supportive. My brother and sister aren't really into it, but my parents are definitely very involved and very supportive in what I want to do. So I'm very grateful to have them.
That's great. That's great, man. I like that a lot. That's good. So I guess let's just kind of talk. We'll kind of follow our normal routine. So why don't we
Mhm.
kind of talk about like talk about your setup? What like you can kind of talk about the guns you're running, your belt, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as the firearms that I'm using, I've been shooting an Infinity Open IMM style open gun. I actually just got my first Infinity serial number closer one on Tuesday, so it's pretty crazy. I just got I guess got extended an invitation to the Infinity Firearms family, and very fortunate to be a part of it. A lot of great dudes, a lot of champions in that group. So yeah, they sent me a brand new Infinity IMM style open gun on Tuesday. I shot it for 3 days in a row, broke the gun in with about 1,000 rounds, and then I was able to take this gun on Sunday and beat the current national champion with it. So definitely very impressed with the level of firearms and quality that Infinity's putting out. So that's the open gun that I'm shooting.
Awesome. What about your belt setup?
Yeah, so I shoot for Double Alpha Academy. I've been using their stuff for a really long time, especially their Alpha X holster. As soon as that thing came out, just went out and bought one because Double Alpha gear is really, really high quality. And so what I look for first is, you know, having products that last is like always good, but having the fastest, slickest setup is very important. And so the Double Alpha holster is perfect setup for me. I use it in Steel Challenge competition, so that's when the draw is really important. But um, so it's really sturdy holster. It's held up really well. I've used the same insert for about 3 years now. Keep it in the same spot. Have literally never moved it since the first position that I've put it in. Super slick draw, super secure. I really like that holster. And then just 2 years ago, I got the Double Alpha X mag pouches. So the Double Alpha X holster is one I've been using, and then got the Double Alpha X magazine pouches. They're super nice because they're first off, they look badass. Like they are so nice. Like the striking appearance of the Alpha X rig is pretty breathtaking. But as far as functionality, they have a hard metal outside, kind of like shell of the pouch. They're really sturdy. Like I've gone prone on them hundreds of times in practice and matches. Go down on them hard. They don't break. And then on the inside, they have a very smooth plastic, and so they're very durable on the outside, but very smooth on the inside. So you're able to get a nice reload on them. And then another cool thing about them is that you can keep the holster, like for the holster, you can keep the same positioning when you're traveling, but also be able to collapse it. So you can keep the position and keep that like uh, muscle memory, having that holster in the same position. But you can take it off, and so you just have the little bracket on the holster. So it's very easy to travel with. They're all really, really adjustable. They adjust to different angles and everything, which is super nice. It's on one big ball joint, kind of like a ball and socket scenario. So you just loosen it, move it to whoever you like.
And then
So
tighten it.
yeah, and then tighten it down. And I've haven't had to Loctite them or anything like that. Just tighten them down. Don't over tighten them. Don't overstrip them, and they stay really well. So I've really never adjusted them. Got them out of the box, put them in a spot that I like, tighten them down, and it worked great. And then I have, of course, their premium Double Alpha belt. Real sturdy, really easy. Obviously, the double belt system is the best by far. That's
Yeah.
really not even a question, but definitely very good Velcro and a very sturdy belt material.
Yeah, I've looked at their belts. I think I'm gonna go with the double alpha belt. Right now, I have like a just an older type Midway USA belt I've had for years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for the double alpha because I think it'll last and it'll be just really good quality. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've checked out. When I was holster shopping, I looked at double alpha at one of their production style slash like CO
Mm-hmm.
style holsters, and I almost pulled the trigger on it. Um, I ended up going with the Red Hill because at the
Mm-hmm.
time, the Rudy Project, that was one of our sponsors. But I think if I ever were to change, I think that would probably be a holster to choose because I liked how easy it was to adjust. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, when you have these like Springer mounts and things like that, they can be kind of hard, to adjust the cant, things like that. So that's great, man. That's really great. So I guess, man, I think we should kind of get into the thick of it. Dad, do you have any questions for the
Riddle me
young man?
this. Riddle me this, young man. I
Mm-hmm.
was looking at some of the stuff on Instagram. What is mag jail? Explain that to me.
Mag Gel?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's what JJ Rakaza uses during his training classes. I'm not teaching any classes right now, so I'll give JJ a little shameless plug. His classes are great. I know he does some sort of system with mag jail or something when you like miss or do something wrong or repeat a bad habit or something like that. You got to like put a mag in a mag jail or something like that. I don't know, until you run out of mags and you're out or something. I've never taken one of his classes. I hear they're really good, but maybe you got to get JJ Rakaza on and ask him.
I
All
got
right,
you.
yeah.
I appreciate. I just seen that and I couldn't figure out what it was. I didn't know if it was something at some of y'all's competitions or something like that. So that's why I asked.
Definitely, yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about. So I mean, you've shot and you've won 6 for 6 area matches,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
for those listeners that aren't real, clear, an area match is basically so USPSA is split up into 8 different areas, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's 2 or 3 states, sometimes it's multiple states. Um, it's a really big match, and so they're all over the country. So I know Area 1 was in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Area 7, where was Area 7? Area 7, it was the same weekend. It was in somewhere on the
Yeah, New
East,
Hampshire.
New
Yeah, New
Hampshire.
Hampshire. Mm-hmm.
Area 8 was in Pennsylvania, right? So,
Yep.
and then, of course, Area 4 this year was in Texas and
Yep.
Houston. So why don't you kind of talk about, I mean, I know you're a young dude. You're almost 10 years younger than me. So what is that like traveling to all those different area matches? Because when you came down here to Texas for Area 4, it was ungodly hot. I didn't shoot that match, but I
Mm-hmm.
shot that weekend and it was ungodly hot. So why don't you kind of talk about like your mindset and how you kind of prepare for matches like that that are across the country?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the main things that I really stress is preparation. I think preparation is multifaceted. I think one of the most important parts you have to do before going to any match is make sure that your gear is right. And so going into a big major match, I always suggest having 2 guns, even if they're not matching. 2 guns that will be able to finish the competition and ammunition for them is really important. So I go into the competition with either one working pistol and spare parts or 2 working pistols and plenty of mags, plenty of ammo, all that stuff. So you want to come prepared. You want to make sure that your gear runs. Want to make sure they have extra screws, extra recoil springs, extra spare parts, ejectors, whatever it takes. So make sure your gear's right. Make sure you're ready to go with it. Make sure that your gear is sighted in at home. Make sure that you make power factor at home. Make sure that you go there and do the warm up bay where your gun sighted and everything. So gear preparation is really important. And then there's multifaceted gear preparation, mental preparation, and then also just physical preparation. As far as physical preparation goes, I like to training and things like that. So what I like to do before the season starts is really analyze my strengths and weaknesses, really start attacking those weaknesses. And one of the things that I do from match to match is I look at all the things that went wrong or what things scared me. And so if I say, oh, this double swinger scared me or this partial at 50 yards scared me, then I'm going to go hammer that and practice that and do it enough times until when I feel comfortable with it. That's when I'll stop doing it or keep doing it, whatever I'm really feeling. So make sure that you're confident in your shooting skills. Make sure that you're able to go up to almost any stage and say, I'm gonna do well on this. I'm gonna succeed because I put in the work. So you put in the work getting your gear right, and you put in the work getting your practice right and getting yourself ready to shoot. And then the last part, the third part, is mentally being right. And so obviously you have to be very real with your expectations. And like if it's your first area match, I wouldn't go in there saying I'm gonna beat everyone because most likely that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um, but when you get to a certain point, when you say you're A class or say you're B class or C class, say, hey, I'm the best C class shooter out there, and I've put in the work getting my gear right. I put in the work getting my mind right, put in the work getting my body right, and getting my practice schedule right, and I really feel confident in my skills. I'm gonna go there, and I have a goal to win C class. I have smaller goals that work up to that big goal of saying I'm gonna see my sight on every single shot that I take. I'm gonna transition fast. I'm gonna do really well with my stage plans, whatever it is. So it's multifaceted. Those 3 things are really important before going to an area match, before you even step foot on an airplane or in a car.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that's great. I really I think what's interesting too is so with like you talked about power factor. So
Mm-hmm.
you're shooting at different elevations and you're
Mm-hmm.
shooting in different climates and things like that. What maybe kind of talk about what is your magic trick to make sure that you make power factor? Because I'm shooting my first level 2 match in about a month in November, month or two,
Mm-hmm.
and I am terrified that I'm not going to make power factor. The next time I go to the range, I'm going to chrono my ammo. So
Mm-hmm.
what are some like things that you do? What are some tips you can maybe
Yeah, definitely. So I'm shooting the open division. So one of the cool things about the open division is sometimes increasing your power factor and sitting at a higher power factor. That might actually help your chronograph, your how you chrono. Because, sometimes the more powder you put in it, or the heavier bullet, or something like that, usually just more powder and more gas will help work the comp better. And so
There
that's
you
a
go.
inverse equation. But it just depends on what division you're shooting. I mean, there's no sense in going to a match, paying for your transportation, paying for the ammo, paying for the training, and then just doing something silly like loading your ammo too light or trying to get this
right?
like invisible advantage. And so I think especially with like minor or even major, honestly, it's really just not worth it. So I like to sit at about 170, 173 power factor. Give yourself at least a 5 power factor window. People that chrono and say, "Oh, yep, I made 167 power factor at home," are the type of people that say, "Oh my gosh, I just barely didn't make power factor," and you
Yeah,
chrono 164. It's like, man, if you would have put half a grain more in there, you
you'd
would have
be
made
fine.
power factor, and you would have never felt it. And so,
Right.
especially when I got my new gun, they said put in like 9.8 to 10 grains of powder. I said I just loaded 10 of 9.8, 10 of 10 grains, and I went and shot at the range and said, "Oh, this is no different." So now I'm just going to load 10 grains and be safe. And guess what? I made like 175 power factor and it was perfect for area 8.
Have you seen since you've been traveling like across the country, have you seen
Mm-hmm.
like any crazy deviation or change in your power factor? Like if you shoot further north or higher elevations, have you seen any changes?
Yeah, definitely. So all chronographs are like set up differently, and some people have like less exposed like light and like different. I mean, some people are off by like an inch on this. Sometimes their bullet scale's heavy. Sometimes you have a heavy bullet. Sometimes maybe you get a light bullet depending on what you're shooting.
Right.
And so it's just really good to be safe. And so like at Area 3 for some reason, first off, Area 3 is a great match. I'm not knocking on Area 3 at all. The match is like absolutely amazing. Match directors are great, super great match. But their chrono was a little light. Like I usually chronograph at like 173 and I was like at 166 or something. So there was
Wow.
some weird deviation there.
Yeah,
So I don't know
the
what's
shoot
going
fast guys talked about that in their episode about it, about how they're and that's why I wanted to ask you that,
on.
because that could if you got bumped down to minor power factor, that could essentially change your scoring. It could change a match for you or really any competitor. So that's just something I was like curious about. um I, I really like, so I kind of want to talk about your training schedule. So we know you shoot all the major area matches. What are some of like a typical month? Like, so do you shoot like local matches? I know you try to shoot some like level 2, some state matches, some
Hmm.
section matches. So I want you to talk about what do you do, in like a typical week or typical month.
Gotcha. Yeah. So as far as like my training schedule goes, for the longest time, what I've been doing, like during the school year and during the summer, I've consistently been shooting every Saturday night, or I miss some Saturday nights, but I'm very fortunate to be a part of this little training group that has an indoor bay reserved called West Coast Armory in Bellevue. So it's an indoor range. You have one big bay reserve, so you can run around it and stuff. But you obviously only shoot into the berm. You can't shoot 180 degrees. So I just shoot every Saturday night. We set up some drills. We run some drills. Consistent practice is really important. Consistent dry fire is really important. Especially, I mean, kind of where I'm at now, dry fire is just maintaining the skills. But especially when I was like in the building years of like really mastering the fundamentals and really getting a good understanding of how to manipulate firearms, learning the fundamentals and understanding that dry fire was really important. And so you got to start building some muscle memory, start getting very comfortable with your firearm. And so dry fire is really important, and consistent practice is really important. And so if you ever want to achieve a goal, consistency is the number one thing that you have to maintain. So as far as what I do now, I'm really like I'm at a point where I still need to push. I still need to get better to win 2019 USPSA Nationals. Obviously, I need to get better. But I think a lot of the time, sometimes when I don't have time or things like that, I'm really just maintaining my skills. Like if I have a really busy week, I'm going to shoot 250 rounds. I'm going to go maintain my skills, test some skills, and be fine. But when I get some time in between matches and stuff, I'm really start to look at some of my videos and say, oh, where can I improve? And really start thinking about shooting more, and then go to the range and say, okay, swingers with a no shoot on it really scared me. I'm gonna go practice swingers with a no shoot. Okay, trapping swingers really scared me. I'm gonna go do that and really master that. Okay, shooting prone, I didn't like that. I gotta practice that. Oh, my transitions were slow. I'm gonna go practice that. So it's a lot more focused practice, and when you get a good basis and understanding of your fundamentals, you can refine them from time to time. Really focus on them at the beginning of your practice schedule, and then near the end of it, you can, or end of your session, you can really focus on things that scare you or things you want to improve on.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, I guess I know if they're in the Northwest, USPSA is pretty big. So, do you participate? Do you belong to a club? Do you shoot any club matches, or do you just try to seek the training and focus on the higher level matches?
Yeah. So, I like 3 years ago, I had never shot an area match, and so obviously I wasn't shooting as many major matches as I am now. And I'm definitely not shooting as many local matches as I am now. That's just because of time and how time allows things. But I am very lucky to be where I'm at because every weekend there's one match within an hour and a half drive, which is really cool. But I will say some clubs are better than others. And so some clubs have, really elaborate stages. Some clubs are very hosey. And so sometimes shooting those matches, you don't learn as much. So I really, really want to focus on the more training side of things. What I like to do is I like to shoot three training practices and then one local match. And so then I work on what I need to do, test it in a match. Work on what I need to do, test it in a match. And so I work on that mainly.
Yeah, and I think and that I'll let you ask your question. I think that's an attainable thing to do for most people. We've talked about some of the clubs in our area. Unfortunately, my dad only has one club in his area. We have two. If you count Austin, I have three, and two of them put on really good matches. And then the other club, they put on decent matches, but it's never really. It's always kind of like the same stuff. There's not a lot of options. So, Dad, do you have a question or anything you want to mention?
What do you got? What advice do you have for an old guy that's been doing this 2 years now, 3?
Yeah.
To improve.
So I think, yeah, definitely. So I think the number one thing that I ignored for a really long time being a young guy. I mean, I'll answer the question more specifically, but just starting from my perspective, being a young guy, it was very easy to play to my strengths. And some of my strengths are like running fast and like moving in and out of position really fast. But
that's not his strength.
right. Okay, right. But the thing with that is that I completely ignore the fundamentals. And so for you, just because you've only been shooting for 2 years, I think you should work on two facets of shooting. Focus on the fundamentals and focus on some of the USPSA and shooting and moving fast, things like that. So the number one thing you can do to help your shooting is become a better shooter. You can be really good at USPSA, like moving and shooting and things like that, but you're not always great at the fundamentals, and you'll really like I've been exposed at big matches of like far targets or swingers or things like that, and my fundamentals have been exposed of not being as strong as possible. So one of the things that I recommend you to focus on is focus on your strengths, because say if you can't move as fast or like older people can't move and shoot as fast, one of the things you can focus on is focus on what you can do best. And so for some people, like some of the older GMs that I compete with that are really good just play to their strengths. Like someone to note is like James Ong, who shoots for Limcat Custom. Shot with him last weekend. Can't move and shoot as fast, can't run as fast, can't come in and out of position as fast. But if we're going to do a 50-yard stand and shoot, he's going to win it because he's mastered the fundamentals. And so I would definitely focus on like prepping the trigger, having good grip, having good stance. Being able to be deadly accurate is very important. And so I think that would be something to do is focus on your strength and always be a student of the game.
Thank you.
Yeah. He's not fast. But he is accurate, though. I think if we were to stand and shoot groups, he could probably shoot better groups than me.
Yeah, and so that you just got to play to your strengths and understand where you're at and what your goals are, and do that.
And put a dot on your gun.
Yes, very important.
So let's kind of we've talked about, you shot all these area matches. So you shot 6 of the 8 area matches. What match has been your favorite match that you've shot, and what match has been your least favorite? So I'm not talking like, the stages were crappy. I know a lot of people bag on Area 3. The guys that shoot fast, they kind of bag on it. So what was like your favorite match? And I know you've won all of them, so all of them are probably your favorite. But which two kind of stand out to you as like your favorite one and your least favorite?
Yeah, definitely. So I think my favorite match was either Area 8 or Area 1 for a couple different reasons. I think Area 1 was really special because it was my home area match. And so I knew, probably 80% of the people there, which was really nice. Kind of like the hometown guy there. And so it's really
Yeah.
nice to be really supported by my local clubs. And shooting with all of them was really good. I think the stages were really elaborate, really fun. They weren't very hosiery or anything. They're pretty technical. Had a lot of really fun aspects to them. Had great match staff. Really was ran well. So I really liked that match. That match was super cool. I think my least favorite one, not because of the stages, just because the weather was Area 4. It was like 100 degrees, and
Oh,
it was pretty brutal. But the match itself was fun. All these matches are fun, and that's why I shoot USPSA. Obviously, is because of the fun of shooting a match and being with people and sharing the sport we love. So I don't think any of them were my least favorite.
yeah. So when you went, so Area 4, so
Mhm.
everyone knows Area 4 kind of got, jacked up with the tornado and all that. What was your story behind that?
Yeah,
So,
so I was very lucky actually. It was really bad for the club and the match, obviously, that got rained out, but I wasn't able to go because it was during my finals week. And so when it got rescheduled, obviously it was very devastating and very sad, but I was very, a little happy that I could make it because I always enjoy shooting Area 4 and what they have to spin up for us. So I was able to make it. And one of my goals is to win all the area matches. It's only been done by Max Michelle, and then the closest person after that has won 4 area matches. So I'm trying to win all 8, and that would have hindered me because I couldn't have shown up to it. So
so
so I was very very excited.
it worked out for you. Yeah, that Texas Heat. I know a lot of people that came from out of state, and they were talking about it on Instagram and Facebook. That especially down in Houston. Houston's way more humid. So I live in San Antonio. Dad lives up in the Panhandle, and Houston is just drenched in humidity. And I know it was, man, it was probably over 100 degrees and more
Oh
than
yeah.
70% humidity. That's kind of what we get to shoot in every single summer. I shot a local match on Sunday and it was probably like 104, 105 degrees. So um, I think that's a big part of that too. That says a lot about this goal that you have for shooting, um, and winning all the area matches. Is that you have to go to different environments. Because I know at Area 1 it was cold up there. I saw people wearing hoodies and jackets that were shooting AM, and then 2 months later you go to Houston and you sweat your head off. You sweat a whole bunch. It's really hot. So I think that's kind of like a testament to your mental and your physical fortitude because not very many people could do that. Not very many people could travel to all those area matches and compete at the level that you're competing. So, I, as a like former athlete and someone who I kind of look up to that. That's very impressive. So I just want to
Thank you.
congratulations on that because man, I can't imagine, time zone changes, adjusting to that. NFL players, they have to travel over to England and play, in a football game. They're getting paid millions of dollars and they're complaining about the time change. And here you are flying from Oregon, what was it, Area 1 on Saturday, and then flying on Sunday to Area 7 and winning that same match in the same weekend. So I think
Yeah.
that says a lot about you and it says a lot about, your mom and your dad and your family support system because
Hmm.
I know I wasn't really into shooting until I got out of college, but I think I would have to say I think my dad and my mom would be supportive of me if I had the same talent you did. So
Yeah. Well,
that's
thank
just
you. Yeah. I think one of the things for me is just when you go into these matches and you have a goal, and the goal is always to win and to have fun. I think when you have a goal, you're really I say determined to meet that goal and really exceed your expectations. I think it's really hard to back down, and I think it takes a lot of determination, a lot of hard work and effort, and goal setting to say, okay, it's 100 degrees. Is that going to change anything? Okay, I'm shooting 12 stages in a day. My knees are tired. I'm sore, but I'm still going to go make ready, and I'm still going to go shoot this stage and crush it. So I think that's another thing to focus on is really ask yourself how bad do you want it, how bad do you want to win, but also on the flip side of that, it's not just all me. I mean, I was very lucky, especially in that weekend. I had my really sweet mom. She drove all the way down with me to Bend, Oregon. We had a great time there shooting the match. Had some great times with some friends shooting the match in 2 days. Had some really nice dinners, and that was super fun. Spending time with my mom was always good down there. Always fun because it's usually just my dad, so it's always good when she makes a little guest appearance, and she's always behind the scenes. But so that was super fun to have her down at Oregon. And then we drove back. We shot it Thursday, Friday, and then my dad literally just hopped on a plane with him when I got back, and then went to Area 7. So it was definitely a family affair and a joint conjoined effort.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a question, right?
Yes, sir. I got a question. You're flying all over the United States for these matches.
Yeah.
How big of a pain is it to bring all your gear, especially with your age?
Yeah, so it's definitely tough. So one of the things that sucks about being 19 is that I can only fly with rifles, and so you have to be 21 to own a pistol, and then fly with a pistol. So I always have to either fly with my mom or my dad. So very fortunate they're kind of down to do that and fly with me and support me. So that's always very appreciated. But flying with guns is literally never fun because you have to show up super early, because if you don't hit that 2 hour window, it's definitely a lot tighter, and so you want to make sure your guns have plenty of time to get there, because like at SeaTac, you can just go check your guns and they can open it up and say, yep, it's totally fine. They x-ray it and you're right there. They have a place to go. But other airports, you have to like hand them their key and they go in the back and mess with your stuff. And so I'm not really a big fan of that. And a lot of the TSA people don't know the rules, and you just try arguing with them for, 20 minutes, and then you just end up having to give them your key. So it's like, all right, you're just committing a felony, but I need to get on my airplane.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick story. I flew to Houston, and I have a LTC, or license to carry.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through the whole rigmarole here in Lubbock to, I had my gun in a lockbox, my ammo in another one. And I always think about it when I see you guys traveling. Anyway, when I landed in Houston, I'm standing at the baggage claim. My suitcase comes up the little conveyor belt, and it's got this red tape on it that says firearm.
Yeah, same thing, man. They literally say, "Hey, here's a firearm," and they put it on the carousel. It's very annoying, especially when you got $9,000 open guns and you're flying with two of them. That's never fun and a little disheartening.
Christian, you should just shoot PCC, dude, until you turn 21, and then you don't have to worry about that, dude.
I mean, that is true, but I'm not really a huge fan of PCC at this time. Hey. And also, you got to be 21 to own it in Washington now. Thank you, Washington.
Oh, well, then never mind. Then don't do that. Hey, I do have a question. So now that you're with Infinity, like let's say, like knock on wood, let's say you just go to a match and they lose your gun. Is there like a network where they can get you a gun? Like, hey, there's a shooter in the city. He has a gun you can use. Like, is that ever? Did you ever discuss that with Mel, or is that just not like an option? Like,
yeah. So I mean, very fortunate to have the support of Infinity and also to have really good teammates. So like flying to Area 8, if my guns got lost or something, obviously a big tragedy, and we'd have to get those guns back somehow. And it might not be until a week. It might not be until a day later or something like that. Everyone that I know of that has lost their guns have gotten them back in a timely manner, but still we might miss the first day of competition. And so for me, very fortunate that there was 3 other Infinity guys at Area 8 could borrow their gun and their ammo. I know they would have let me because I would have let them too. It's kind of just a mutual respect thing. You don't want to beat someone because they don't have the right equipment and stuff. And so if your gun goes down, most people are happy to loan them their super expensive guns. So, there's always a way to get a gun if you need it, and competitors are always very willing to share and help another shooter out.
Yeah, especially if it's a competitor, right? They're like, "Hey, man, shoot my gun. That way, everybody can see you shooting my gun." All right, man. So we're kind of nearing the end here. So I would like for you, I know, and you kind of mentioned it. We have not too much longer left in this 2019 season. So what are some things that you want to see for yourself as a shooter?
So every match that I go to, I keep finding things that I'm very, very pleased with, of things that I've really succeeded on. Like, for example, the last stage had 2 tuxedo targets about 35 yards. I really seemed to clutch up and shoot 2 rounds on each, and I shot 2 rounds on each and called 2 good alpha on each one of them. And I know that if I would have shot that just 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been confident enough to do that. So I keep seeing improvement, which is really exciting, especially nearing the end of the season. I guess my 2 last goals are pretty simple. Win Area 5, win Area 2. So a clean sweep of all the area matches this year. And then also, the top of the pyramid for my goals this year is to win nationals. I think it's very achievable. I think it's something that I definitely can do, and it's definitely my wheelhouse. We'll just have to make sure that we get everything squared away and, get ready and keep preparing. And so win nationals, win all the area matches, and that's just about it. There's not much else for me to do at this point besides win those matches and then focus and shift my attention to the World Shooting 2020.
Awesome.
I want to commend you for your maturity at your age.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
If I didn't know any better, I would think we were talking to a 30-year-old. But
well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
I really commend, and I mean that as a compliment, but I really commend you on your maturity and all of that. And I wish you luck the rest of the year.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we wish you luck, man. We'll be rooting for you. Why don't you go ahead and plug your socials and your sponsors so that way people can check you out, get you those gram followers, because that. No one cares about how many area matches you win. It's about how many likes you get on the gram at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Okay? Well, I guess I should just be a gun bunny and maybe I get some more likes.
You can be a gun buddy. We can be gun bunnies too.
Absolutely. Well, just shameless plugs. Obviously, really fortunate to shoot for Infinity Firearms. They make the best firearms out there, the best 2011, 1911 platform pistols. On top of all my guns with red dots, I always use Loophole optics. They make great scopes, great dots, especially for practical pistol shooting. The Delta Point Pro has been tested and driven hard by many competitors, works really well. As far as bullets, I shoot for Everglades ammunition. I use their 124 jacketed hollow point. Really super accurate bullet, perfect combo between the Infinity and the Everglades. You can literally stack bullets at almost any distance, and so really good there. And then as far as gear and equipment, I always use Double Alpha products. I use a lot of their gun covers, their backpacks, their mag pouches, their belts, everything. And so I always like to partner myself with companies that I believe in, companies that I've been using their products for a long time, and products that can hold up and really live up to their reputation, and also live up to my expectations and really meet each other in the middle. On Instagram, Christian.Seiler.shooting. Seiler spelled Sailer, and then on Facebook it's Christian S competitive pistol shoot or competitive shooter. So follow me on that, and I love to help anyone, answer questions, things like that. So go ahead and shoot me a message if I can help you in any way.
Awesome,
man. Hey, Mr.
Well,
Host, can I ask one more question?
Yes, you sure can, Mr.
Christian,
Co-host.
Why do you shoot hollow points? What's the advantage to shooting hollow points?
Makes the paper scared.
I guess it does. I guess it might be a better question for people that are very technical and reloading. But from my understanding, hollow points are a little bit more accurate. People have a better understanding than I do of why they're more accurate. But historically, they're a little bit more accurate than the round nose, and so I think that's why most competitive shooters use them. But it's a very minimal difference.
Okay, because the last match I shot, there was a guy there that was shooting hollow points, and at first I thought, why? But that makes a lot of sense. Now we're gonna have to go do some research.
Yeah, I think I might be a little Wikipedia, which I'm curious myself. I know they're more accurate, so I'll trust them.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah, one of my good friends, he shoots hollow points, so I never understood why, but All right, so guys, I gotta pay the bills really quick. So make sure that you guys go onto Facebook, search Shoot Reload Repeat Podcast, like our Facebook page. We'll probably be doing a listener question episode soon. I'm sorry about the upload schedule. It's been my life has been crazy since I got started with work lately. So we'll try to have a better upload schedule. Thank you to Christian for being on here, man. I know you're a busy dude, so thank you for just taking out this little bit of time to speak with us. We're small potatoes compared to you in the shooting pool, so I really do appreciate you taking out that time. And we just want to, from both of us, we want to wish you good luck for the rest of the season. Keep working hard, and maybe we can have you on later. Maybe we can have you and JJ can get together and y'all can recap your season. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much again, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm really happy to be on the podcast, and best of luck with all your endeavors as well.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
That is all we got for today, guys. Thank you guys for listening, and shoot fast and don't suck.